Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Bedtime Stories with Muraz. How's everyone doing? You know what? We only have 2 or 3 days left before Ramadan begins. Really, it may even be tomorrow. The first fast may be tomorrow. How have you guys planned to spend it? Because, this Ramadan is not going to be like any other Ramadan we've ever experienced in our lives. Why? Because we're going to be in lockdown. We're going to be locked in our houses most of the time. We're going to be hungry. We're going to be thirsty. We're going to be very irritable. Ooh, I foresee a lot of arguments coming. But you know what? We have to control ourselves because that's really, really important. That's where the test is. When you're hungry, when you're thirsty, that's not the real test. That's, everyone can do that. But the real test is how you spend your time. Do you let the hunger, do you let the thirst get to you? Are you still able to be good people with good attitudes? Well, that is important. And what happens when you're fasting, or if your mom and dad are fasting and they get a bit angry because they're hungry, or they get a bit irritated? Are you going to make their life easy, or are you going to be understanding? And being understanding is very important, and that is actually kind of the moral of the story that I'm about to tell you. And it's a bit of a short story today. This is a story about a father who had 4 sons. And he wanted to teach his sons a lesson, a very important lesson. He said to each of his 4 sons, "There is a tree about 3 days away from here." Now, they didn't have cars, so, they had to go on a horse or a camel. So it was a 3-day journey. "There is a tree 3 days away from here. I want each one of you to go and tell me what you see." He told each one of his sons to go and see that tree and come back and tell him what they saw. Now, the difference is he told his sons to go at different times. He had 4 sons. So the first son, he told him to go during winter. The second son, he told him to go during spring. The third son, he told him to go during summer. And the 4th son, he told him to go during, what comes after summer? Autumn, yeah? So he told each of his sons to go during different times. And of course, he asked them to return once everyone had been. So it took about a year. It took about a year before everyone was able to go and see that tree. And they all went with the diaries and they wrote down exactly what they saw. So the king asked the first person, "Describe the tree that you saw." So he asked the first son. And the first son said, "Well, when I went there, it was dark. The tree looked all twisted and gloomy. It really wasn't that pretty." And of course, he went during winter. The second son, who went during spring, he said, "Well, actually, you're wrong. The tree was full of green buds, and it looked like life is just about to pop out of it." Interesting. Then the third son disagreed even more. What did he say? He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, it wasn't just green buds. The tree had beautiful big flowers. I swear with my own eyes. It had big flowers that were beautiful and huge and full of colors." And what did the 4th one say? The 4th one, he went during autumn. What happens during autumn? The leaves fall. He said, "No, there was no life on that tree. It was just dead branches and just a skeleton. I can't believe I wasted my entire journey for this ugly tree, right?" But what did the father say? The father said, "You all saw the same tree. You all saw the same tree, right? You all saw the same tree, but you just saw it at different phases in its life." What does that mean? That means all of us. What is the moral of that story? That means all of us. You could be one person, but sometimes you could be gloomy. Sometimes you can be happy and colorful and boisterous and loud and noisy. Other times you could be a little bit, you want your alone time. We are all human, and that means we have different phases. Sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we feel sad, sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're irritable, and we can be the same during Ramadan. and we have to be understanding. And sometimes not having food or water can make us more irritable and more angry. And we have to be very careful that we, we respect other people's phases in their lives. That certain people can feel one way at one point, but they might feel something else at another point. And so that's really important that we're understanding of that, right? So we don't judge a person based on one phase of their life. You're not going to go around and think, oh, that man or that woman was miserable, or my brother or my sister, they're always miserable, they're always angry. Sometimes you have to think, sometimes they're just going through a bad patch. Sometimes, they maybe had bad news, or maybe they're stressed about something, and you can't base how you feel on just one picture that you see, because maybe that same person in the future will blossom. Maybe you saw them during their version of winter, their version of autumn. You never got to experience them in spring and summer. So if you stick with people when they're going through winter and autumn, you can experience and be part of their spring and their summer, right? And not only that, you're there for them and understanding when they're going through their darker times. So remember, guys, give people excuses, be kind to them, understand where they're coming from, and be patient and be forgiving, right? Be forgiving, because if you forgive other people, then Allah will forgive you on the day of judgment, and that's what we want. Ultimately, we all want to be forgiven on the day of judgment so that we can get Jannah, inshallah. Okay, so remember that, and I hope you all have a fantastic Ramadan, and pray for Muraz, pray for my family and my friends, and pray that Allah gives us the barakah and the tawfiq to defeat and end the COVID pandemic that's going on, and Allah bless us and cleanse us of our sins as a result of it, and make life easy for us. So yeah, let's make that dua. While we do that, I'm going to enjoy my junk food before Ramadan kicks in. I'm actually stocking up on all the bad things, which don't tell anybody I told you that. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.